Welcome, everyone. We appreciate you joining us today. We'll be starting shortly at the top of the hour, so we hope you enjoy the next 45 minutes. Thank you for joining us today, everyone. We still have some folks that are coming into the webinar. So while we're waiting for folks to continue to sign on, I just have a few housekeeping items I want to go over with you today. It's the top of the hour. We have this session for 45 minutes and we will end on time so you all can move on to your next appointments or classes that you might be attending or other commitments that you might have. So again, welcome to the Elevate Programs Fall 2022 Town Hall. If you've attended one before, this is actually our third town hall. We try to hold these once per semester. The next one will be in spring of 2023. And if you are new with us, here's some of our housekeeping items, or if you've attended another event, this might look familiar to you. The first point is we have enabled the live transcript, and you can see the directions on the screen. If you would like to turn on the closed captioning for yourself, you are welcome to do that. The second point is we are recording this session. We will make it available as soon as we get it remediated for accessibility, and as an attendee or a registrant, you will receive an email notification once that video has been posted. We also have the prior two town hall recordings available for you to watch on our website as well. And the last and probably my favorite housekeeping item is that we have enabled the Q&A feature. Please, throughout the presentation, feel free to type in your questions. We have some folks in the background that will be monitoring the questions, and we have allotted time at the end of the session to answer as many of your questions as we can. And with that, I will now turn it over to Jack Blanchard. He's our Associate Provost for Enterprise Resource Planning.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, and welcome everyone to our fall town hall meeting. And for our agenda today, we'll start with some welcoming remarks from Provost Jennifer King-Rice. I'll then give you a quick recap of what is Elevate for those of you who are new to this topic, just to get us all on the same page. And then I'll quickly move to our progress that we've been making since our last town hall meeting in March. And then I'll be transitioning to talking about how we can all be preparing for our go live through next spring semester, being ready for July 1, 2023. At the very end, I'll pivot and talk a bit about our upcoming student implementation, which is a bit over the horizon. And then, as Gay noted, we will transition to a question and answer session. And so now it is my great pleasure to introduce Provost Jennifer King-Rice for some welcoming remarks.
Thank you so much, Jack, and thank you, Gay, and really just a big thank you to the entire Elevate team. This is, I have to say, an unprecedented effort on our university campus to modernize our enterprise system in ways that are really going to change the work and that we all do and the way we do that work. And so this is an all hands on deck effort, and I just want to thank all of you who have taken the time today to join us to hear a little more about Elevate and to to grow your knowledge as we work toward go live of this new enterprise system. So again, I'm Jennifer King-Rice. I'm Senior Vice President and Provost here at the University of Maryland. While I've been in this position for a little over a year, I've worked at the University of Maryland for over 25 years. As a member of the faculty at all ranks, I came in as an assistant professor and worked my way up. Most recently as Dean of the College of Education, and now serving in administration as provost. And my work at the University of Maryland, both my research and teaching activities, as well as my administrative work, has really focused on paying attention to the alignment between educational resources on the one hand, whether that's money or space or time, with initiatives to advance excellence and equity and social justice in preschool all the way up through grad school. So how do we use our resources in meaningful and thoughtful ways to realize the kinds of goals and outcomes that we have for education? And there I don't just mean student achievement test scores or graduation rates, but I mean the broad set of outcomes that we're all about as educators. So it is, again, a pleasure to be with you all to talk a little bit about the Elevate program, which is a big investment. It will be a resource as we move forward toward our goals as a university. And I really, once again, want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. This Elevate program is truly an historic effort to fully modernize our enterprise systems on this campus. And it's work that's really in direct correlation with so many of the goals and principles that are laid out in our new campus strategic plan. So the systems that we're trying to implement through Elevate have a direct impact on our university enterprise in so many ways, and you'll hear about some of those today. As hopefully you all know, President Pines and I announced a new strategic plan on this campus, Fearlessly Forward, in pursuit of excellence and impact for the public good. That happened in February of this past year. And on our campus, this dynamic strategic plan really boldly reimagines what it means to be a public university and to uphold and expand our mission of service to the public good, service to humanity. Our plan is rooted in a set of guiding principles or values that include excellence, diversity, equity, and inclusion, impact, innovation, collaboration, all in service to humanity. We know that this university, like universities throughout the state and across the country, this university is evolving faster than at any moment in our history. And our guiding principles, those that I just named, are helping us to empower the next generation of global citizens to develop creative solutions to the grand challenges of our time. So as an institution, our strategic plan is grounded in 4 what we call strategic commitments or pillars. We reimagine learning, we take on humanity's grand challenges, we invest in people and communities, and we partner to advance the public good. So to all of you joining us from across campus and those of you who are joining us from across the system, thank you again for engaging with the Elevate program. By attending events like this, focused on Elevate, and taking advantages of opportunities to learn more about Workday, you're helping us to fully modernize our enterprise systems. Elevate wouldn't be possible without the unprecedented engagement and support from all of you. And I ask you to please continue your support of the leadership team and the pit crews through opportunities like these town halls and other opportunities that emerge. One of the goals of this program is to establish transparency and collaboration. So your continued engagement is absolutely key to the implementation of this important project. So as a final note, I do want to thank again the leadership team. I want to thank the members of the pit crews who are doing a lot of the on-the-ground work, translational work. I know this has been a very heavy lift, and as we get closer to go live date, there'll be more responsibilities that are spread across this campus. So I again want to thank all of you who will be involved in the implementation. This truly is a once-in-a-career experience. So it's remarkable how much so many are doing on top of their already primary responsibilities to keep units and divisions running smoothly. So again, thanks to all who are working on this. Thanks to all who are joining us today. And I look forward to everyone's continued dedication and service. And I really look forward on the other side to having a new enterprise system that really empowers our university to be, and universities to be, all that they can be. This truly is, in so many ways, an investment in our people and our community. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for those comments. And what I'll be doing next is to give you all a quick recap about what is Elevate. And now we have a diverse group of people on this meeting. I think we had over 800 people register for our 2 sessions. And some of you have been to prior Elevate meetings, and so you're aware of what this involves, but many of you are coming to us for the first time because this is a new topic for you. And I just want to level set and make sure that we all have a common understanding about what the Elevate program is. So I'll keep this brief, I'll walk through it quickly, and then when we're all on the same page, I can move on to really focusing on the new material for today's meeting. But essentially, what we're trying to address is a problem. What problem are we trying to fix? It involves our enterprise resource planning system that the provost noted, our ERP system. And it involves those 3 red circles that you see on the right side of the slide, our finance system. So those of you who are working with our budgets, the quality finance system, human resources, when you log into PHR to do your timesheet, or you apply for a job through eTERP, or you recruit through eTERP, those are all of our computing systems for human resources. And then, of course, our student information system, all of our computing systems that support our students when they register for a course, when they want a transcript. So all of these computing systems comprise our ERP, basically the computing infrastructure of our campus that allow us to get the work done that we need to get done. These systems, unfortunately, are obsolete. They are beyond their life expectancy, and they really can no longer meet the complex needs of a flagship research university. So as the provost noted, we're making significant investments to modernize these systems, and we have very clear goals in doing so. First of all, we want a positive user experience. We want to make the university more efficient and effective. And we want to allow the university to collect, report, and analyze data accurately to better inform decisions. And we want to, of course, ensure data security and privacy. And we want all of these systems to be reliable and so that they can be easily maintained and constantly updated and improved. And that's what we'll achieve with the new platform. So we've selected Workday. Workday is an ERP system. It's a cloud-based system, so you log onto the internet and gain access to it. This is a system that's been adopted by a large number of institutions in higher education, including our Big Ten partner, The Ohio State University. The advantage of the Workday system involves that it is a single integrated system. As you'll see in the next slide, rather than logging into multiple different software packages and systems, we'll be able to do all the work that we need all through Workday. This will have a benefit of simplifying our training, simplifying our user experience. It'll allow us to do reporting more accurately, one of our goals. And the advantage of Workday is that it is continually updated and continually improved. Just like the software on your smartphone, it will be updated twice a year. So it is always adding new functionality and improving the prior function. Speaking of smartphones, another advantage is that Workday will be accessible through multiple platforms, whether it is through your smartphone, a tablet, or a computer. And the other advantage is that it will have multilingual support. Users can log in, choose a language that they prefer to see within Workday, and that material will be presented. I mentioned that one of the advantages of Workday is that it is a single integrated platform. And here you see on the left side, we will have about 30 different computing systems that we will be able to retire because all of that functionality will be moved on to Workday. So instead of maintaining, learning about those systems, now we just need to focus on Workday. So again, this will simplify training, simplify the user experience. So when we talk about the enterprise systems that we're replacing, this impacts 4 different institutions. The University of Maryland College Park, the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, the University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science, and the main office of the University System of Maryland. All of us are right now using the same finance system, Quali, the same HR system like PHR, eTERP. So all of us are working together to make this transformation and migrate over to the Workday platform. So I want to welcome in the audience all of you from across our different institutions, and I'm glad you're able to attend. And it's been a wonderful collaborative effort across our different teams. So now that we're all up to speed about what enterprise systems are and what the Elevate program is about, I want to review what we've been doing since we last spoke in March at our last town hall meeting. And to give you an overview of our calendar, focusing on that red arrow at the top left, that's where we are now. We're working on replacing our finance and our HR systems, also called human capital management. And in the next slides, I'll be going into detail about what we've been doing in finance and HCM and when we go live. The third stage that we have is adaptive planning. That's a budgeting tool that will be used by a smaller number of us, but it's an important tool. And we'll start working on that early next year. And then finally, we will talk about the student implementation. And so near the end of my presentation, I'll pivot to talking a bit about that new effort, and that will go forward and ultimately go live in 2026. So you can see we have these three related projects taking multiple years. And as the provost noted, this is indeed a heavy lift. So let's focus on that red work stream, finance and HCM. So here you have month by month where we've been and where we're going. To the left, we started doing this back in January 2021. Each of those green check marks simply indicate we succeeded at what was required at that phase of our work, and all of that's been completed. And you can see where we are now, that yellow month of November, in testing and training prep. And I'm going to break that out and show you what that involves and what's going to be happening. And then if you look at the calendar, you can see that April, May, and June are colored orange. Those are our training months that we will be deploying training, and I'll talk more about that, to get us ready to go live for July 1, 2023. If you look what's between November and April, 4 short months after November. So things will be happening very quickly. And I think one of the take-home messages in all of my meetings this semester is that this is no longer something that's happening in the distant future. This is truly something that is happening now. And as we look to the spring semester, all of us should understand that it will not be business as usual. There are impacts and things that we need to prepare for now as we start thinking about the spring. So what have we accomplished since our last town hall meeting? Well, the first thing that you see listed there is that we've completed major design decisions. So with Workday, we have to make decisions about how Workday is going to be configured uniquely for us here at Maryland to meet all of our needs. And so our design is going to be different from someone else's, and that takes a lot of time and effort. So the fact that we've now completed that is a huge milestone. We then use those design decisions to build out what's called a Workday tenant. And the Workday tenant is just our unique instance of Workday that reflects all of our design decisions. It's our secure version of Workday that we can all log into as we're developing it. When I say all of us, our team, and then we populate that Workday tenant with data and information from our local units. So now we can test out how all of our decisions actually work in Workday and see that there are no errors and ensure that everything is performing properly. So these are major accomplishments since we last met in March. And what's allowed us to do these things is our project implementation teams. The provost called out this group deservedly. Our PIC crews involve local teams that represent every division, every college, every one of our institutions. And they involve over 360 staff members who are bringing information into Elevate, but also bringing information from Elevate back to their home units. So they are playing a critical role to allow all of our different constituencies across all of our institutions to participate and to be represented to make sure that Workday will work for all of us. So since March, the PIC crews have been doing lots of things like cleaning up our existing data, identifying errors in our existing data, allow us to correct that so that when we're ready to transfer all of our existing data to Workday, we don't have any difficulties. There's also a step in Workday where we have to look at all of our current staff positions and identify what security roles, it's called, in Workday. That's a lot of work that's involved with our PIT crews, but it's a critical step for us in preparing Workday for us to use next July. The other thing they've been doing is doing an inventory of our existing computing systems that touch on Workday, so to speak, that will be impacted by Workday. And this allows us to make sure that those users of those impacted systems are aware of what's coming and how Workday will be affecting the systems that they use. So an enormous effort, literally thousands of hours of time. If you know anyone in the PIT crew, please say a thank you to them. They have my sincere thanks. This would not be possible without their contributions. We've also had other groups who've been contributing, and I want to acknowledge them. We started a student intern program last summer. This was a paid 10-week program where students came on board to Elevate. They were involved in professional development workshops with our consulting partner, Huron. And they did a number of things that actually contributed to our effort. They helped us analyze some data from users that we did a survey with. They started developing training materials that we're going to use, and they assisted in developing communications. There'll be more opportunities for students to be involved coming up early next year, and I'm going to talk more about that when I get to student implementation. And then the other group that we've been engaging is a faculty advisory committee. We've talked about staff, we've talked about students. We wanted to be sure to capture the unique perspectives and needs of faculty. So this is a volunteer group. I thank them all for their time. This involves tenure track faculty, professional track faculty, research faculty, instructional faculty. We have a couple of chairs on the committee, center director. All of this is allowing us to have small group conversations, get their input, and help us confirm things, for example, with training materials that we're going to be developing. So we're going to be engaging them through the remainder of the semester and into the fall. So again, a thanks to those volunteers who are involved in that effort. So we talked about testing, and here I just want to highlight two aspects of our testing. The first one that you see in blue there is called end-to-end testing, and that's ongoing now, started this summer, and it will go through the end of the year. And basically, we're going into our tenant and we are testing all of our processes from start to finish. We want to know that every business process, every integration, every financial report that we have built into Workday is actually working. And if there is an error, we want to identify it now. Because if there is an error, we want to capture it, correct it before we go live. So that will go through the end of this year. And then on the lower right, appropriately with a $sign in green, is payroll testing. Obviously, the highest priority thing that we want to be able to do in the new system is deliver paychecks on time and accurately. And that requires a lot of effort and preparation. Our campus, some of you may know this, does not do payroll particularly. We submit data to the state through the Central Payroll Bureau, the CPB, and they then cut the check. We will be testing our payroll with the CPB, and that involves a lot of coordination in making sure that we meet all of our milestones. So that is ongoing and will continue through the new year, and more to come from that. I want to note that the whole purpose of testing is allowing us week by week to determine, are we accomplishing what we expect to accomplish, and are we meeting our milestones, and are we on schedule? And as I stand before you today, I can say that we are on schedule and that we fully are committed to a July 1 start. Anything about these testings that might rise to a level where we're concerned about it, we would want to identify that and make sure that we have plans to correct it or mitigate it. And that ultimately will ensure that we stay on track for that July 1 go live. So in terms of preparing for go live, I often get the question of, okay, I know what the schedule is, what's happening. Is there anything I can do now to start getting ready? And my answer to that is an enthusiastic yes. There are things that you can do now. And for so long, we've been kind of talking about Elevate as something, again, over the horizon. Don't worry about it now. We'll come back to. Well, I'm coming back to everyone now this semester and saying, this is the year. As we move into the spring semester, we want to be prepared for change. And the first thing that you can really do to be prepared for change is what you're doing today, this afternoon in this meeting. Keep informed. We'll have this town hall meeting, another one in the spring, and then we have other things going on to keep you informed. Functional overviews. In the next slide, I'll talk more about that. These are quick introductions to Workday that allow you to start to get familiar with Workday so that you're better prepared for training in April. We have newsletters that come out monthly. You can go ahead and get those subscribed, or you can access those on our website, and I'll talk more about the website. And of course, when April comes up, participate in that training. But for functional overviews, I just want to emphasize these. These are not training sessions. They're completely optional and voluntary, but they're a great opportunity to learn now about Workday. Get that brief introduction, start getting oriented to it, get a feel for how Workday actually functions differently from what we're doing now. So if you go to our website, we have a list of functional overviews that we've already done. And they're all recorded and they're on video. So that list of 9 bolded functional overview topics on the right-hand side, those are all done and they're on video. And the first 2 of those are relevant to everyone in this town hall. It's basically a first look at Workday. How do you navigate, get around Workday? And the second one is, how would you go into Workday and do kind of what we call self-service? Change your contact information or your emergency contacts. That's relevant for everyone. And then I invite you to look at those other topics and see which of those topics might relate to your current job responsibilities. And if it does, watch that functional overview. If you do purchasing, if you're involved in hiring, if you are interested in about talent and performance, look at those functional overviews. And then we have 2 that are scheduled on the calendar on November 17th and then January. And both of those will be live. We'll capture them, record them, and they'll also be available on our website. So I encourage you to consider visiting our website and viewing those videos. The website has other information, as I said, all of our newsletters. There's a list of frequently asked questions, a glossary of terms. We have announcements on the website. So a good place to just kind of check in with on a weekly basis at least. So training is a key part of what we want to get ready for. And there are typically lots of questions about what to expect with training. So I'm going to walk through what is involved when we get to training. So first, when will it happen? So this is going to happen starting in April. Registration that you can see there will start in March. But for those of you who want to be ready for July 1 to do your jobs in Workday, April, May, and June are the key months of training. As you can see on the slide, training will not be shut off July 1. We'll continue to deliver training through the end of the summer. And even beyond that, we'll have makeup sessions, we'll have user labs, and we'll have a support organization that will continue to support users and helping new users learn about the system. So in terms of what you can expect from training, the first point that I want to emphasize is that not everyone will need to take the same courses in Workday. Some of us might do very little in Workday. We might log in to do our timesheet. We might want to change our contact information, update our pronouns. That will require minimal training along with maybe some job aids that I'll talk about. And then depending on the roles that you have, the jobs that you have, then you will potentially have more training if you are involved in HR. If you do HR and finance, then you're going to have more modules to attend and learn from. We will provide guidance so that anyone can go in and see, based on your job and the roles that you have, you'll see a recommended list of trainings, and that will help you focus on what you need for your particular roles in Workday. So the next question is, how will we deliver that different training for all of our users? And that's what you see listed on this slide. We're trying to ensure that we have training that is easiest to access and most flexible for all of our users. And on the far left, that's really captured by the on-demand computer-based training. What this means is you can log in 24/7 from anywhere and access the appropriate training that's relevant to you and your role. The beauty of that, of course, is the flexibility, and a vast majority of our training will likely be in that domain. But then we have two other ways that we're going to deliver training. And in the middle of the slide, we'll have instructor-led live Zoom sessions. And this is more interactive. It gives folks an opportunity to ask questions during the presentation. And there'll be a smaller set of those courses that involve instructor-led training. And then on the far right, user labs are an opportunity for smaller group sessions to have more kind of virtual, it is by Zoom, kind of virtual hands-on direction about how to accomplish a particular task or function within Workday. So those are the kind of three ways we'll be delivering our training, and complementing training will be job aids. What's a job aid? It is simple, direct, clear instructions, step-by-step, on how to do a particular task. So if someone did a training, they don't remember everything, or they just want to be able to do a specified action within Workday, they can go into our repository. By the way, we're going to have like 400 of these, and you can identify, search for the one that you want, and you can identify what you need. And this will include screenshots, step-by-step instructions. Basically, that document is going to hold your hand and walk you through the steps that you need to follow to get that task done. And that will be available for all of our users during this period and beyond. So I've talked about training, I've talked about HCM and finance, and this is a point where I said there's going to be a pivot. All of the material that I've covered so far has been involving all of our institutions that I listed. Here, we do something a little bit different. University of Maryland, College Park, will be implementing Workday Student, and this is going to be starting up as we move into the new year. University of Maryland Eastern Shore will also ultimately implement Workday Student. That will be a separate project, and details on that project are being developed. But I just want to note that this is where we kind of split apart a little bit. So with regard to College Park student implementation, we are initiating work on this now. We've hired key positions as part of this project, and we are starting what I'll be describing as readiness work that will begin in January. All of this is really driven by the key principle that this is a student-centered project. Students are our key stakeholders. They use the system. We want to make sure that we're serving them and that we're giving them something better than what they have now. So we'll get their input on their current problems, difficulties, challenges, and by having these conversations, begin to learn what are they looking for, what would be a benefit, how can we improve things. And so the project that we're going to be starting with is called Student Transformation and Readiness. And this is just an opportunity for us to do some early work, January through August of next year, to get ready for the full launch of our technical implementation at the end of 2023. And we'll be doing three things that you see listed here. The first is interviews and focus groups with students, just as I said, a student-centered, student-focused project. And we will also be meeting with staff and faculty who use these systems to understand pain points and how we can improve it. We will be reviewing our existing processes and policies to understand the University of Maryland College Park academic experience and pull all of that together to start develop ways of improving what we will deliver with our new student information system in Workday. And then the third thing that we're going to do is to develop a long-term communication strategy for that student project. How do we continue to engage and keep students informed as we move forward? And how do we also engage and communicate with staff and faculty as we move forward? So all of that's going to be part of that readiness project that's going to kick off in January. And so this is the calendar for the student aspect, that transformation and readiness, starting early in 2023 and carrying through August, and then transitioning to the formal student implementation that will ultimately go live in fall of 2026. So a multi-year project, just like HCM and finance, but we couldn't start this until HCM and finance were built out. So we're eager to move this forward, and we're really excited about starting the student implementation. So that's what I wanted to cover today. And before we transition to question and answer, I do want to remind you about our website and staying connected with us through our newsletter, through our functional overviews, submitting questions if you have. And by the way, I'm available. I'm available if you want to invite us to come to your unit, your department, your division, to give a presentation to staff, faculty, whoever. We want to be sure that everyone is learning about what's coming and that everyone is prepared for it. So reach out to the team if you'd like to have a presentation. I look forward to that. And I'm going to turn it back to the team for questions that we've received so far. I think we had an opportunity for people to submit questions as they registered, right, Kay?
That's correct. Yeah, we got some great questions. So those of you, when you registered, you took advantage of that pre-submit. And so with that, Jack, what we did is we've categorized these questions into 3 main buckets. So with the time remaining, we'll get started with some of our pre-submitted questions. And as time allows, if any questions that came in during session, we'll try to get to those. And if we don't, be assured, if you've submitted a question, we have your email and we'll be reaching out directly afterwards. So to get started, the first section we have is implementation related questions. And the first one is, are we still on track to go live July 1st?
Yes, we are still on track to go live on July 1st. As I noted, we continually evaluate the current state of the project. We're in a critical phase with this testing that we're doing, and I mentioned this. So we'll continue to evaluate where we are and continue to assess any issues or concerns. Right now, I can confidently say that yes, we are on track for July 1 go live.
Good. A somewhat related, maybe, what date has been chosen for a go, no-go decision?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And I want to define that go, no go. So that's a term used where you're at a decision point, right? Do we go and proceed with our July 1 start, and we're all on track for that? Or do you get to a point where you say there are concerns here that are insurmountable and we have to make a no-go decision? That is, we're going to push off July 1 and we're going to delay going live. So we don't have a hard, fast deadline for that go, no go, but given the number of things that are happening in testing and the data that we'll have about the outcome of what's happening in the upcoming weeks, we expect that in January, latest February, we'd be in a position to make a decision about go, no go. It would likely be in that broad window, January, February, where we would be saying something of this is a problem, or we're good, we got a green light, we can go ahead. So more to come in the new year, but likely January, February would be that window where we would make go, no go decisions.
Next up, what resources are available for people who are not familiar with Elevate, but would like to learn more?
Oh, great. We have lots of resources. As I mentioned, the website is a wonderful place to go. You're going to find our monthly newsletters there. You can subscribe to the newsletter so it's delivered to you directly, or just go to our website and you can open it up, download them from there. The website has frequently asked questions. It has a glossary of terms. If this is what something is called in Quali, what would it be called in Workday? Also, we have our frequently asked questions, or FAQs, that you can go to, and we have our functional overviews that you can access. We have we have 8 or 9 that are already recorded and available. We're going to have a new one that's upcoming November 17th. If you missed that live presentation, you can also ultimately see that recorded one on the website. The other thing I want to mention is what I said previously. You can also contact the team if you want us to come and do a presentation so your group can learn more about Elevate directly from us. I'm happy to come and visit you, either Zoom or in person, to do a bespoke presentation to your team.
Where are we in terms of gearing up for Workday Student?
Where are we? So what I outlined is that we are starting to get ready for this readiness phase. So we've already hired key staff members as part of the student implementation. And in January, we'll start that 8-month scope of work that involves the things I talked about, engaging students in small group discussions, collecting data, information, and generating then a plan by around August for what will be happening as we then gear up for the full implementation at the end of 2023. So that's where we are in terms of gearing up for Workday Student. And then that's going to be a 3-year heavy lift where we will ultimately go live in fall of 2026. But January, we're going to start some serious work on student.
We're going to pivot a little bit. We have 2 questions that were pre-submitted regarding training. The first is, when will official training begin on the new site instead of the overviews we have been receiving?
Yeah, great. So those overviews are not intended as training. As I described earlier, they're a way to get familiar with Workday and start getting introduced with concepts in Workday. But the formal training will start in April. And that will go through April, May, and June for those people who are getting ready for July 1 go live. So whatever training you need to do for July 1, you'll have a full 3-month period, April, May, and June, to distribute that training across and get ready for July 1.
This next question, I really like this question that came in. How will training be done for those who only would use a small fraction of Elevate?
Right. So as I noted, we all have different roles when we have access to our HR systems. Some of us don't do anything in finance. And it might be, as this question indicates, that there's very limited interaction with our systems. And in that case, people will have very minimal training to do. So there will likely be focused entirely on computer-based training. So those individuals who only need to do minimal work within Workday, they will just access their training modules online at their convenience and get that done. And it will be pretty minimal. If all you're doing is your timesheet and updating your personal contact information, it's probably an hour or less of training, along with using the job aids I talked about that can assist you in walking you through step-by-step anything that you need to get done.
Great. The last category we have is system questions, and we're almost out of time, so I think we can take 2 of these questions today. The first one, does Workday allow for write-in pronouns? If not, can it be added?
Yes, it does allow it. We've configured Workday in collaboration with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion and other offices on campus. We've developed it so that you can have access to a pretty extensive drop-down list of pronouns. And if you don't see pronoun that you want to use, there will be a text box that you can enter in your own pronoun for use. So that option will be available in Workday.
And I think we have time for this last question. Will State of Maryland cooperate and coordinate with Workday financial transactions?
So when we talk about financial transactions, I'm not sure exactly what they're referring to, but if what they're referring to is the Central Payroll Bureau and our paychecks, yes, we are collaborating with the state. We are working with them and coordinating how we will go through our testing process for the CPB, and that's including in our training paradigm to make sure that all of that is working properly with the state.
I think we have about 30 seconds left. So that's, I think, all the time we have for questions. We got a couple. I saw some questions coming in, so we will be following up with you directly if we didn't get an answer to your question in this time. So on behalf of myself and Jack and Provost King Rice, we thank you for attending today. Your participation is much appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you at future events. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.